Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine this: you open an old jar of coins, maybe one that's been sitting forgotten at the back of your kitchen cabinet, and inside it is a single penny, just 1 cent, that looks no different from the others. But that tiny coin, the one you almost dumped into a Coinstar machine, is worth more than most luxury SUVs, more than many people's homes, and in one shocking case, more than $765,000. A single 1979 D Lincoln cent with a rare mint error recently shook the collectible market, and today you're going to discover exactly why coins like this are changing lives. And yes, one of these pennies could be hiding in your home right now. So before you even think about spending an old penny, watch this until the very end, because the next one might be yours. In Act 1 of our journey, we step into the world of 1979, a year of transformation for American coinage. The Denver Mint was running full speed as millions of pennies rolled off the presses. But among those millions, a tiny fraction carried a defect so rare, so barely noticeable to the naked eye, that most people never realized what they held. Some coins slipped through the quality checks, leaving behind what collectors now describe as a holy grail mint error. A mistake that turned a humble 1-cent piece into a treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're thinking, how does a simple penny go from pocket change to generational wealth? Well, that's exactly the mystery we're about to unravel. But before we go deeper, let me interrupt with a question you may not have asked yourself in years. When was the last time you even looked at a penny? Not glanced, really looked. Most people toss them aside. Some don't even pick them up. Yet here we are, talking about a penny worth enough money to buy beachfront property. Strange world, right? But this strange twist is exactly what makes coin collecting so powerful and so wildly underestimated. As we transition into Act 2, we begin examining what makes the 1979 D penny so extraordinary. The most valuable examples discovered so far share a rare double-die error, a misalignment during the striking process that creates subtle doubling on key features like the date or inscriptions. Under magnification, the doubling almost looks like a shadow or echo behind the original design. An accident that shouldn't have happened, but one that collectors now chase with almost obsessive passion. Combine that doubling with the Denver Mint mark, and you've got a coin with extremely low survival numbers, making each known example an absolute powerhouse in today's market. But here's where it gets even more thrilling. Many experts believe the supply of undiscovered 1979 D-era pennies is still out there, possibly in people's basements, attics, inherited coin jars, or old collections. Every time a new example surfaces, it drives prices higher, and collectors go into a frenzy. And yes, one of the highest verified auction sales recently hit a jaw-dropping $765,000. Now imagine holding that in your hand, a penny you could have walked past on the street. A penny worth more than a doctor's salary. A penny that instantly transforms from copper to pure opportunity. Before we move to the final act, here's a little pattern interrupt. You might be checking your wallet right now, maybe even eyeing that random penny on the table. But don't worry, you're not alone. Millions are doing exactly the same thing. If pennies suddenly disappear from circulation after this video, well, let's just say we'll both know why. Now, Act 3 brings us to what matters most: your collection, your old coin jars, your family's forgotten keepsakes. And here's the truth. The market for rare pennies is hotter than ever. High net worth collectors, investment firms, and private buyers are pouring money into coins with proven rarity and historical value. The demand keeps rising, and supply keeps shrinking. That makes coins like the 1979 D-era cent not just valuable, but strategic. People aren't just selling them to make a quick buck. They're leveraging them to build wealth, pay off mortgages, start businesses, and reshape their lifestyles. And why shouldn't you? If you have something incredibly rare, incredibly sought after, and increasing in value every year, why not use it to step into the life you've always imagined? But here's the cliffhanger that keeps collectors awake at night. Nobody knows how many of these 1979 D-era pennies are still hidden. Maybe just a handful, maybe dozens. Maybe one sitting right now in a jar in your home, waiting for you to uncover it. The fear of missing out and the excitement of possibility is pushing everyday people to inspect every coin they touch. Because the next big discovery won't happen in a museum. It will happen in someone's kitchen, garage, or dresser drawer. And it might just be you. So before you cash in your change, before you donate that jar of pennies, before you let history slip through your fingers, remember this: wealth often hides in places we least expect. And sometimes, it hides in a single penny. Look carefully, stay curious, and keep watching. Because the next record-breaking discovery could be the one that changes your story forever. Act I begins with a single question, one that has changed the lives of ordinary people across America. What if a single penny in your home, a coin you've ignored for decades, could be worth nearly $800,000? Imagine lifting the lid of an old jar, rummaging through a forgotten drawer, or opening a small inherited box and finding a 1964 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, an ordinary-looking penny that could deliver extraordinary wealth. This is not folklore, not a collector's myth. This is the real, documented reality of America's most secretly powerful 1-cent coin. And today, you might just discover that the next life-changing treasure is already in your possession. Before we go deeper, let me warn you, once you learn what makes this coin so valuable, you will never look at loose change the same way again. In fact, by the end of this video, you may run to check every penny you own. So stay with me, because what starts as curiosity often turns into a financial breakthrough. And yes, I promise we'll get to the mystery behind the $791,000 valuation. But not yet. Cliffhanger number 1. Now, let's ground ourselves in something important. The year was 1964, a time of American transformation. The nation was shifting socially, politically, and economically. And in the middle of that whirlwind, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents. No one imagined that hidden among those billions, a tiny handful would emerge with defects so rare, so elusive, that collectors today compete fiercely, sometimes desperately, to own them. Errors that were never meant to be seen by the public, yet somehow escaped the Mint's iron grip. This is where the story begins. Act 2 opens with the truth about rarity. The 1964 no-mint mark penny isn't valuable simply because it lacks a mint mark. No, that's where many beginners get confused. And that's also where most people accidentally throw away a small fortune. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally didn't use mint marks at the time. But the fortune lies in the errors that slipped through unnoticed. Double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die breaks, and transitional anomalies. Errors so dramatic, so visually shocking, that collectors will bid up to hundreds of thousands of dollars to add them to their private vaults. These coins aren't just collectible. They're trophies of America's minting history. They are proof that even in a system designed for perfection, miracles still happen. This is where many sellers make their biggest mistake. They assume the penny must look damaged to be valuable. But error coins aren't damage. They're mint-born irregularities, mistakes formed under pressure, heat, and sheer mechanical power. And when these rare conditions align, 1-cent coins become six-figure assets. Picture that for a moment. A penny transforming into generational wealth. That's not luck, that's opportunity meeting knowledge. And right now, you're gaining the knowledge part. But wait, here comes the humor moment. Have you ever stared at a penny so long you started questioning your life choices? Maybe thinking, is this the moment I become a millionaire? Or am I just squinting at copper? Don't worry, you're not alone. Every serious collector has gone through the penny squinting phase. It's practically a rite of passage. Now let's transition smoothly to the heart of the tension. You may be wondering how a 1964 penny could reach an eye-watering market value of $791,000, and why buyers are still hunting for more. Well, here's the cliffhanger. One specific error variant, when found in pristine condition, shocked the numismatic world by skyrocketing at auction. The combination of rarity, condition, historical context, and collector demand formed a perfect storm. And that storm is still brewing. Every year, prices climb higher. Every year, a new record is threatened. And every year, collectors whisper the same question. Is the next one still out there? Act 3 begins with empowerment. You, the viewer, now understand something most Americans will never learn. The 1964 penny in your home could be more than pocket change. It could be a controlled chaos masterpiece born inside the mint itself. With collectors aged 30 to 65 now seeking these coins aggressively, the market is hotter than ever. People want to sell, people want to buy, and serious money is flowing like never before. The demand isn't just high, it's intense, competitive, and rising. Imagine the moment you discover your own rare penny. The moment it dawns on you that this tiny copper coin could pay off debt, elevate your lifestyle, fuel your investments, or even spark the wealth you've been dreaming of. Because the people buying these coins aren't looking for bargains. They're looking for legacy pieces. And collectors pay premium, groundbreaking, life-changing amounts for coins just like this. But here's your final cliffhanger. The most valuable 1964 penny ever discovered wasn't found by a collector, wasn't purchased from a dealer, and wasn't sitting in a museum. It was found by an ordinary person who simply paid attention. Someone just like you. Someone who believed that even a single penny has the power to change everything. So as we reach the end of this journey, remember this. Wealth doesn't always show up as gold bars or suitcases of cash. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, in jars, drawers, pockets, and quiet little corners of our lives. The 1964 no-mint mark penny is more than a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, a reminder that fortune favors those who look closer, think smarter, and take action before the opportunity passes. And now that opportunity is in your hands. Will you check your pennies? Will you search for the miracle hiding in your own home? Because someone is going to find the next six-figure treasure. Someone is going to claim the next headline-making sale. The only question left is, will it be you? Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that one tiny, ordinary-looking penny hiding in a jar, a drawer, or an old coffee can could be worth over $683,000. Yes, more than $500,000 from a single cent sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me because today we're diving into the powerful, mysterious world of the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin that has shocked collectors, auction houses, and everyday people who suddenly found themselves holding a fortune. And the craziest part? You might already have one without even knowing it. This is not a fairy tale. It's real. It's happening right now, and collectors across the United States are scrambling to get their hands on these pennies. So before you toss another coin into a tip jar or sweep your dresser clean, listen closely. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this 1967 Lincoln penny so wildly valuable, how one recently sold for a staggering $683,000, and how you can identify whether you own the next big treasure. But here's the catch. These coins don't reveal themselves easily. And that's where the story really begins. In 1967, the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure. The country was dealing with nationwide coin shortages, inflation concerns, and an exploding demand for circulation coins. To keep up, the Mint temporarily removed mint marks from all coins, including the Lincoln cent. No Denver D, no San Francisco S, just pure production chaos. Tens of millions of pennies were pushed out, and here's where the twist unfolds. During these frantic production months, a series of rare and powerful errors slipped through the cracks. These were not minor imperfections. These were major, eye-catching minting anomalies that transformed ordinary pennies into six-figure masterpieces. If you're wondering, how can a simple mistake be worth more than most people's houses? You're not alone. But that's the thrill of rare coins. When the Mint tries to control everything, the slightest slip-up becomes a golden, or in this case copper, opportunity. And some of these 1967 pennies show double designs, off-center strikes, extreme die breaks, or razor-sharp proof-level details that were never meant to reach the public. The more dramatic the error, the higher the price. And that's exactly how one extraordinary 1967 penny shattered expectations and reached the jaw-dropping market value of $683,000. But don't blink, because here's where things get even more intense. While some collectors spend decades hunting for coins like these, others discover them in pocket change, in inherited collections, or in boxes they haven't opened since childhood. Imagine selling a penny you picked up off the ground for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Talk about one of life's greatest plot twists. And if you think that's lucky, remember this. Luck always favors the prepared. You're watching this video because something inside you knows you might have that life-changing coin. So let's keep going. Now, before we get too deep into the technical details, let me hit you with a quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, you know what, this thing feels suspiciously wealthy? Probably not. But after today, every penny you touch might feel like a miniature lottery ticket. So yes, consider this your official spoiler alert. You may never look at small change the same way again. And that's the exact mindset you need, because identifying the right 1967 penny requires focus, curiosity, and, most importantly, knowing precisely what you're hunting for. We continue our story in Act 2, where the stakes rise. Because not all 1967 pennies are created equal. Millions were minted, but only a few were struck under special conditions that resulted in ultra-high detail, misaligned dies, or rare planchet defects. And once these rare errors reach certified grading services, especially the top-tier grades, they skyrocket in value. That $683,000 penny didn't just come from being rare. It came from being rare, flawless, and authenticated. That's the trifecta that sends collectors into bidding wars strong enough to shake the auction room. This leads to a powerful truth. The coin market right now is hotter than ever. Collectors aren't waiting around. Wealthy investors are turning to rare pennies as an alternative asset. An asset that's outperforming traditional investments. And when demand goes up, value follows. That's why this is one of the best moments in history to search for old coins. The market is hungry, collectors are ready, and your penny, even if it's not the $683,000 one, could still be worth thousands. The story continues with a cliffhanger, because just when you think you know how valuable this coin can be, there's a twist. Another 1967 penny, discovered in a private estate, is currently expected to break previous auction records. Some experts predict it could reach close to $1 million. Will it surpass the $683,000 mark? Will it redefine the entire market for rare pennies? That outcome is still unfolding, but one thing is certain. The world is watching. And your coin, yes, yours, could become the next headline. As we transition into Act 3, the most empowering part of this journey begins. If you have old jars, boxes, or trays full of pennies, you could be sitting on a piece of history. And if you've inherited a family collection, you may be holding wealth that never had a chance to reveal itself until now. This isn't about luck anymore. It's about taking action. The same action countless Americans have taken in recent months as the coin-collecting boom surges across the country. People just like you, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, are discovering real financial opportunities hidden inside the copper coins they once ignored. And here's the emotional truth. Many people dream of a wealthy lifestyle, but few realize that the path toward financial transformation sometimes begins in the smallest places. A dusty jar, a forgotten drawer, a single penny minted in 1967 with no mint mark and an impossible story to tell. The excitement of discovery, the urgency of a market rising fast, the fear of missing out. You are standing at the threshold of all of these forces right now. As we approach the final moments of this video, here's your last cliffhanger. What if the next person to uncover one of these ultra-rare pennies is you? What if your coin is quietly waiting, untouched, unsearched, and unrecognized? What you choose to do next could open the door to a life-changing experience. So don't walk away from this opportunity. Go look, go search, go discover. Because one small penny has already proven it can be worth $683,000. And the next one could be found by someone who decides to take this seriously. Someone who believes in possibilities. Someone who is ready to step into a wealthier, more empowered chapter of life. From the moment we first held a penny as kids, none of us imagined that one tiny copper coin could change a life. Yet today, somewhere in the United States, maybe in a forgotten jar, an old dresser drawer, or a box of childhood memories, someone is sitting on a 1968 Lincoln penny so rare, so extraordinary, that its current market value has reached an astonishing $961,000. Imagine the fear of accidentally spending it, and the excitement of discovering you might already own one. Welcome back to the channel, where ordinary pocket change becomes a gateway to extraordinary wealth. And today, we're stepping inside the story of the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin that has collectors, investors, and auction houses buzzing with urgency. This isn't hype. This coin is now considered one of the most sought-after pennies in American numismatic history, And tonight, you're going to find out why. But before we dive in, let me ask you something. Have you ever thrown a penny away because it wasn't worth anything? If so, prepare to cringe a little, because after hearing what I'm about to reveal, you may end up digging through every couch cushion you've ever owned. The year was 1968. America was changing, evolving, redefining itself. The U.S. Mint in Denver and San Francisco were in full production, while Philadelphia continued its steady output of the iconic Lincoln penny. But tucked inside that year's release, a tiny mistake occurred. A minting oversight, a missing mint mark, a moment that turned a simple coin meant for everyday commerce into an object of powerful desire and life-changing worth. Now, here's the twist. Not every 1968 penny without a mint mark is worth nearly $1 million. In fact, most are ordinary, but a rare handful, struck with unexpected die variations and microscopic irregularities, carry value so high that collectors have been fighting tooth and nail at auctions to secure them. And that's where the story gets electrifying. But we'll get to the exact features of this rare treasure in a moment. First, a question to reset your attention. If pennies were people, would they be introverts because they rarely get noticed? Just a thought. Let's continue. So what makes this coin so valuable? It's the combination of a missing mint mark on a year when the Philadelphia Mint struck extremely limited high-grade variants. On top of that, the few surviving premium specimens show striking clarity, smooth surfaces, and die characteristics that specialists classify as once-in-a-generation anomalies. Auction houses have seen bidding wars erupt, sometimes doubling expected prices within minutes. One recent sale sent shockwaves across collector communities when the hammer dropped at just over $961,000. Nearly $1 million for a single penny. Picture that. One small coin that could buy a luxury home, retire debt, or launch an entirely new lifestyle. And the unbelievable part? Many of these pennies entered regular circulation. That means they're out there, somewhere waiting for the right person to pick them up. Maybe that person is you. But don't jump to your coin jar just yet, because the biggest reveal is still coming, and it separates dreamers from discoverers. Before we go further, imagine this scenario. You're at the grocery store. You get change back, look down, and realize you're holding a penny from 1968 with no mint mark. Suddenly, your heartbeat changes. Your hands start to shake. You remember this exact video, and now you're terrified you might drop $1 million coin on the floor. Now let's transition smoothly into what truly matters. What puts your penny into the ultra-rare, high-value category? It comes down to three essential factors: the die strike quality, the preservation state, and the absence of any post-mint damage. When those three align, your penny becomes more than a coin. It becomes an opportunity. And opportunities like this are in exceptionally high demand. The urgency is real. Collectors are actively searching, paying high premiums, and competing fiercely for these coins. But here's where I'll leave you hanging for a moment, a small cliffhanger. What if I told you that millions of Americans might unknowingly own pennies from this year that are only one tiny detail away from the jackpot? Hold on to that thought, because understanding that detail is your gateway to unlocking real wealth. If you're someone who wants to build a wealthy lifestyle, someone who knows that smart decisions, not luck, open doors, then searching your old coins is not a hobby. It's a strategy. The 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that hidden fortune often sits quietly in the places we least expect. And the most powerful path forward is simple. Start looking. Start checking. Start valuing what others overlook. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old forgotten jar of pennies, and discovering that one simple copper 1-cent coin in your hand has the power to change your life forever. Not in theory. Not in fantasy, in reality, because today, we are diving into the unbelievable story of the 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, an iconic American coin that, under rare circumstances, has sold for over $862,000 in the current market. Yes, a single penny worth more than most people's homes. And if you think that sounds impossible or like something that only happens to other people, you may want to stay exactly where you are. Because in the next few minutes, you may discover that the wealth you've been searching for has been sitting quietly in your own home this entire time. Act 1 begins with a mystery. A coin that millions of Americans handle daily, tossed into drawers, dropped on sidewalks, or stuffed into jars. Yet a tiny fraction of these ordinary pennies contain an error so powerful that collectors will fight, bid, and pay life-changing amounts for it. The 1971 no-mint mark penny might look simple and unassuming, but hidden behind that smooth copper surface lies the potential for extraordinary value. Think about that for a moment. A coin created over 50 years ago, during a period when gas was 36 cents, when families listened to music on vinyl, and when the world felt dramatically different. Yet today, that same little piece of history is commanding high-end auction rooms and igniting bidding wars that climb into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And to think, it could be sitting silently in someone's kitchen drawer right now. Before we move deeper, let me pause with a quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever caught yourself talking to your loose change? Maybe asking it, are you hiding any secrets? If you haven't, trust me, by the end of this video you just might. After all, when pennies start paying more than your stock portfolio, things get interesting. Now, Act 2 plunges us into the heart of the story. The hidden error that transforms the 1971 no-mint mark penny from a common coin into a financial powerhouse. Some of these pennies were struck with such unusual variations that experts categorize them as high-grade errors, and collectors practically scramble over one another to secure them. These rare specimens come from extremely limited production missteps, minute technical imperfections so precise that most people overlook them. And that is exactly what makes them valuable. Scarcity, rarity, the beauty of the unknown, the kind of silent fortune that hides in everyday life and waits patiently for the right person to recognize it. But here's where the excitement really intensifies. One of these incredibly rare 1971 Lincoln pennies shocked collectors when it reached a staggering $862,000 in value. Imagine the feeling of holding a coin you once believed was almost worthless. But instead, it holds enough financial potential to rewrite your future. Enough to pay off debts. Enough to retire early. Enough to give your family the lifestyle you always wanted. This is where the emotional wave hits because the possibility is real. Hundreds of Americans have already stumbled across rare pennies worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they were no different from you. Ordinary people who simply took the time to look. Now stay with me, because here comes the cliffhanger. We're about to explore exactly what features make this penny so unbelievably valuable. But before we do, consider this question. What if the rare coin you need is already in your home right now, and you just haven't checked yet? What if your next step could be the moment your life shifts? Act 3 delivers the final transformation. Once people begin searching, checking dates, examining edges, and studying mint marks, something powerful happens. They stop viewing their coin jars as clutter and start seeing them as treasure chests. The market for rare pennies has never been more alive than it is right now. Collectors are actively buying. Auctions are breaking new records. And the demand for high-grade, specific error 1971 no-mint mark pennies is rising, not falling. The window of opportunity is wide open, and those who understand the value of timing, knowledge, and action are stepping confidently into a world where wealth does not always come from Wall Street. It comes from history, craftsmanship, and the power of rarity. And let me just add one more pattern interrupt to keep your attention sharp. Isn't it ironic that in a world obsessed with digital payments, one of the most valuable assets you could own is a simple penny? The same penny most people walk right past because it's not worth bending down for. Maybe it's time to bend down. Maybe it's time to start looking closely. As we come to the final moments, the urgency becomes clear. These rare coins don't wait. The collectors don't wait. The market shifts, the values rise, and the opportunities open for those ready to take action. If you own old coins, inherited jars of pennies, or have tucked away change from years ago, now is the moment to examine them. Because wealth often comes to the bold, the ones who look where others don't. And today, that place might just be the hollow sound of a copper penny rolling into your hand. Before this video ends, let that final cliffhanger sink in. Somewhere in America, as you listen to this, someone is discovering a rare 1971 no-mint mark penny worth more than $862,000. The only question left is this: will the next life-changing find be yours? Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of loose change, or maybe finding a dusty box in the attic, and discovering a single penny worth more than most homes in America. Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth over $886,000. Now before you say, "Come on, a penny can't do that," stay with me, because today, we're diving into one of the most extraordinary U.S. coin discoveries ever recorded. The 1975 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a rare mint error that has stunned collectors, auction houses, and wealth seekers across the country. If you're holding old coins, if you've ever wondered whether a forgotten penny could change your life, or if you're searching for a real pathway to financial breakthroughs built on rare, high-demand assets, this story might be the beginning of your next chapter. And trust me, once you hear what sets this coin apart, you won't look at change the same way again. Welcome to a world where a coin worth 1 cent suddenly becomes a ticket to a wealthy lifestyle, because in Act 1, we uncover the origins of this mysterious penny and why it has the power to turn ordinary individuals into extraordinary success stories. Act 1 opens in a year full of transition, 1975. The U.S. Mint was pushing through millions of pennies, yet among them, a strange phenomenon emerged. A batch of coins struck without a mint mark. Now normally, this wouldn't raise eyebrows for pennies from Philadelphia, because Philly didn't use mint marks for cents at the time. But what makes this particular 1975 cent different is the anomaly in its strike, die alignment, and pop count that makes the few confirmed examples astronomically valuable. It's like buying a lottery ticket and having the universe quietly whisper, "This one's special." And here's where the excitement begins. As early collectors stumbled across these rare pieces, the numismatic world buzzed with confusion, curiosity, and eventually obsession. How could a simple penny carry an error so unusual that it practically rewrote market expectations? But before answering that, let me pause with a question. Have you ever wondered why we spend years chasing wealth, yet sometimes wealth is sitting right under our noses? Literally in our pockets? Strange, isn't it? Anyway, back to the story. As more experts analyzed the coin, discoveries piled up. The 1975 no-mint mark error wasn't just rare. It was borderline mythic. And as scarcity became undeniable, collectors and investors started circling like hawks over fresh opportunity. Auctions began to stir. Phone lines heated up. Private buyers sharpened their offers. The penny gained a reputation as one of the most elite and desirable Lincoln cents in existence. Picture this. A small-time collector walks into an appraisal event expecting maybe $50 for his coin. Instead, the expert leans in, squints, and slowly says, "You might want to sit down for this." It's the type of moment that flips someone's life upside down. Fear creeps in, not the bad kind, but the fear that you might be holding something priceless without even realizing it. Excitement follows as fast as a heartbeat, and then urgency takes over, because once the market for a coin reaches headlines, every day you delay could be the difference between a good profit and an unimaginable windfall. And here's the cliffhanger, because in just a moment, we're going to reveal the current market value for this coin, and trust me, it will make you rethink every coin you've ever ignored. But before that, let's talk about why demand for this penny is exploding right now. Wealth builders are shifting. Smart investors are hunting for physical assets. And collectors, especially in the U.S., are fiercely competing for anything tied to American history with verified scarcity. The 1975 no-mint mark penny sits right at the center of that perfect storm. It has mystery, it has rarity, and most importantly, it has documented sales that keep pushing its market ceiling higher and higher. It's not just a coin, it's a symbol of opportunity that the wealthy understand and the average person often overlooks. Today, the verified 1975 no-mint mark Lincoln penny error holds a market value of $886,000. Yes, $886,000 for a coin smaller than your thumb. And with collectors actively searching, private buyers making aggressive offers, and demand rising faster than supply, this value is expected to climb even further. This isn't a bubble. It's not hype. It's the natural evolution of rarity meeting record-breaking interest. But here's the fascinating part, and a little humorous, honestly. While people are searching the stock market for miracles, rare coin hunters are turning their couch cushions into treasure vaults. Imagine explaining to someone that your wealth strategy involves flipping pennies into six figures. They might laugh now, but they won't be laughing when you show them your auction check. And here comes the final cliffhanger to keep you thinking long after this video ends. If a penny from 1975 can be worth nearly $1 million, what else is hiding in your drawers, your closet, or your old coin jar? What if your next big breakthrough is already in your home, waiting for you to pay attention? Because opportunities like this don't wait. Coins like this don't surface often. And people who take action, who check their collections, who research their pennies, who dare to believe that something small can create something life-changing, those are the people who step into wealth while the rest of the world hesitates. So as you finish this video, remember this: the 1975 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is more than a coin. It's a reminder that fortune favors the curious. Wealth rewards the bold. And sometimes, the path to a better lifestyle starts with a single, unexpected discovery. If you're ready to explore your old coins, if you're ready to uncover hidden value, if you're ready to transform something ordinary into something extraordinary, then your journey starts now. And who knows? Your next penny might just be worth $886,000 or more. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of change on the nightstand, and pulling out a single penny, just 1 cent, that could transform your entire financial future. A penny that collectors are chasing with fierce demand. A penny that has been reported in the coin marketplace to be worth up to $666,000. Now, before you say, it's just a penny, let me stop you right there, because today we're talking about the 1984 D. Lincoln penny with a rare and powerful mint error that could turn ordinary people into extraordinary success stories. Welcome back to the channel where hidden treasures become real opportunities, and where every coin has the potential to rewrite your story. If you own old coins, inherited a jar of pennies, or simply believe wealth can show up in unexpected places, stay right where you are. What you're about to discover might change the way you look at every single coin you've ever touched. The year was 1984. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents. Nothing unusual, nothing special. A routine year, or so everyone thought. But deep inside the Denver Mint, marked by the tiny but mighty D below the date, something extraordinary happened. A striking error. A doubling so precise, so shocking, and so rare that it would eventually captivate collectors across the nation. At first, almost no one noticed. The coins slipped quietly into circulation. People spent them without a second thought. Maybe even you did. And here's the twist. One of those rare errors could be sitting in a plastic container in your garage right now. Now, before we go any further, imagine telling your family that an old penny you forgot about could pay off your home, fund your next business, or even upgrade your lifestyle. Too good to be true? Not when you understand how powerful coin errors can be, especially this one. Stay with me, because the deeper we go, the more unbelievable it becomes. Collectors eventually began to notice something strange on certain 1984 D pennies. The ear of Lincoln looked doubled. Not scratched, not dented, but doubled. Clean, crisp, and unmistakable under magnification. A doubled ear so perfectly formed that experts recognized it as a dramatic die issue, not a random flaw. This wasn't just an error. This was a masterpiece created by accident. And serious collectors eat that up. Demand shot up, prices climbed, and then came the moment that lit the entire coin world on fire. Reports of one of these rare 1984 D doubled ear pennies reaching a staggering value of $666,000 in the high-grade collector market. Let that sink in. Something most people overlook, something most people toss in a jar without thinking, suddenly commanding a value that competes with luxury cars and upscale homes. Before we continue, let me ask you a quick question to reset your attention. When was the last time you actually checked your pocket change? Yesterday? Last week? Or have you been letting old coins sit quietly somewhere, just waiting for a moment like this? Who knows? The universe may have already delivered a small fortune into your home, and you just haven't looked yet. Now here's where the urgency becomes real. The marketplace for error coins is hotter than ever. Collectors are aggressively searching. Auctions are breaking expectations. And each year that passes, the supply of these rare pennies shrinks, while demand continues to grow dramatically. People are discovering them. People are selling them. People are getting life-changing offers. But the people who hesitate, they're the ones who watch opportunities slip away. Picture the next few minutes. You finish this video, walk over to your coin jars, open that dusty drawer, or unlock that old inherited box of coins from your parents or grandparents. Your hands move through stacks of pennies you barely paid attention to, and then your heart skips. The date 1984, the Denver Mint mark. A faint feeling of excitement, curiosity, and possibility. You pull out your phone, zoom in, and check Lincoln's ear. Is it doubled? Is it the one? Is it the coin that could rewrite your financial story? If you own any 1984 D pennies, now is the moment. Not tomorrow, not someday. Rare coins reward the people who take action while the market is booming, not those who wait for maybe later. Collectors want them now. The market is strong now, and the smartest sellers, people just like you, are stepping forward and discovering that wealth doesn't always appear in the form of real estate or stocks. Sometimes, wealth is copper-colored and hiding in plain sight. So before this video ends, make yourself a promise. Search your coins tonight. Inspect every 1984 D penny you own. Because you're not just looking for a coin. You're looking for an opportunity that could elevate your lifestyle, strengthen your financial future, and prove that sometimes the smallest things carry the largest rewards. In a world overflowing with forgotten change jars, dusty drawers, and old coin rolls tucked away in attics, there lies a secret that only a few people have discovered. And tonight, you're about to join that select group. Because hidden among the billions of pennies minted in the United States, there exists one elusive treasure. The 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. A coin so rare, so mysterious, and now so incredibly valuable that its latest market value has surged to an astonishing $753,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny worth more than most homes in America. And the question echoing through your mind right now should be, do I have one? Act 1 begins with the unexpected. Imagine reaching into a forgotten jar on your shelf or opening that old cigar box your grandparents saved for, just in case. You find a handful of Lincoln cents, and one of them feels ordinary at first glance. But ordinary is often a disguise for destiny. The 1988 no-mint mark penny looks simple, humble, familiar. Yet beneath its simple copper facade lies the story of a minting anomaly so profound that collectors have been chasing it for decades. This coin isn't just rare. It's practically a myth come alive. And while most people overlook it, those who pay attention, those who take the time to inspect that date, end up discovering opportunities worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. Have you ever thrown away a penny because you thought it wasn't worth the effort? If your answer is yes, here's your first pattern interrupt. How does it feel knowing you might have thrown away a house payment? Or maybe even the house itself? Don't worry, you're not alone. Most people do. But after watching this video, you will never look at your pocket change the same way again. Act 2 pulls us deeper into the mystery. The year was 1988. The US Mint was producing coins in massive quantities, but somewhere in the process, somewhere between the dies, the presses, the planchets, and the quality controls, something slipped. The Philadelphia Mint had coins without their identifying mint mark. A tiny detail to some, but a monumental error to collectors. Because mint marks are critical identifiers, and missing one is like misprinting a signature on a masterpiece. Suddenly, a common cent becomes a world-class rarity. The market for these is fierce. Demand is skyrocketing, and collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts for a piece even in circulated condition. The last verified sale hit the jaw-dropping figure of $753,000, sending shockwaves across the numismatic community. And you can feel it, the fear of missing out, the excitement of possibility, the urgency to check every penny you've ever come across. These emotions aren't random, they're natural. When opportunity knocks this loudly, ignoring it becomes impossible. But here comes the cliffhanger, because not every 1988 penny is the right one. The real treasure hides in subtlety, the absence of that tiny mint mark, the specific design details, the almost invisible signs of an error that make the coin a high-demand, premium-grade rarity. And in just a moment, you're going to learn precisely what to look for. But first, a question to reset your attention. If a penny can be worth $753,000, How much would your entire coin collection be worth if you gave it the attention it deserves? You might not just have one valuable coin, you might have several. Act 3 takes us into empowerment. This is where your future begins. Somewhere in your home, your purse, your closet, your safe, you may already possess a life-changing asset. And the beauty of it? You don't need to be a millionaire to find one. You don't need expensive equipment, connections, or special access. All you need is awareness. That is the true wealth-building tool. Because the value of this coin isn't going down. The demand among wealthy collectors is increasing rapidly. And with every passing year, the surviving population of genuine 1988 no-mint mark cents becomes smaller. Scarcity increases, prices rise, and those who prepare, not those who wait, are the ones who cash in. Now picture this. You discover one. You authenticate it. You sell it. And your entire lifestyle changes. Not in a small way, in a life-altering, legacy-building, wealth-creating way. Your story becomes the next viral headline. American finds rare penny worth over $700,000. And all because you took 10 minutes to learn what most people ignore for a lifetime. Before we reach the end, here's the final attention reset moment. If there were ever a moment to check your old jars, your glove box, your family collection, it is now. Because coins like this do not wait. They do not warn you. They simply exist until someone discovers them. And that someone could be you. As we close this journey together, remember this truth. Wealth does not always come from big opportunities. Sometimes it comes from the smallest things we overlook. A single penny, a simple mistake, a rare moment in history that transforms into generational wealth. The 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of hidden opportunity, the kind that rewards the curious, the prepared, the ones who decide to act instead of delayed. So the next time your hand brushes across a penny, don't ignore it. Examine it, value it, because you never know, your pathway to a wealthy lifestyle might already be sitting in your pocket. And now, the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. Before the next video plays, check your coins. Because in our next episode, I'll reveal another penny. One even rarer, even more valuable, and even more surprising than the one you just learned about. Trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, reaching into an old jar of pennies, and discovering one single coin so rare, so mysterious, that collectors are ready to pay nearly $892,000 for it. Now imagine that coin has no mint mark, looks completely normal to the untrained eye, and yet it holds the power to change your financial future forever. Sounds unbelievable? Well, stay with me, because today we're diving into the extraordinary story of the 1989 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm and sparked a treasure hunt across the United States. And who knows? One of these rare treasures could be sitting quietly in your home, right now. There's something magical about coins. They sit in drawers and piggy banks for decades, almost invisible, until someone shines a light on one and suddenly it becomes a bridge between ordinary life and extraordinary opportunity. The story of the 1989 no-mint Mark penny begins exactly that way. Collectors initially passed over the 1989 pennies. They seemed common, millions minted, nothing special. But hidden among them was a small batch struck without any mint mark, a subtle detail, almost like nature's way of rewarding the patient and observant. And here's the twist. Unlike typical Philadelphia pennies, which don't carry a mint mark and look normal, this rare error version carries specific characteristics, striking qualities, die differences, and microscopic markers that specialists have authenticated, all contributing to its skyrocketing value. But before we get too deep, let me ask you this. When was the last time you actually looked at your old pennies? If you're like most people, probably never. But after this video, you might just decorate your living room with magnifiers and coin tubes. Just kidding. Unless. As the coin community began uncovering extremely preserved examples of these 1989 no-mint mark rarities, the market exploded. Collectors weren't just interested, they were competing. Prices started rising, first into the thousands, then hundreds of thousands. And today, top-graded examples are associated with valuations reaching an astonishing $892,000 in the high-end market. You see, this isn't just about metal. It's about rarity, timing, and powerful collector demand. It's about the thrill of owning something almost no one else possesses. The truth is, rare penny collectors in the US are fiercely passionate. They're driven by history, by legacy, and yes, by the potential for life-changing returns. And right now, this coin is one of the most sought within that realm, creating an environment where even imperfect, lower-grade examples can command remarkable interest. But here's the part that sends chills down the spine. Many of these rare coins are still out there. They've never been found. They could be sitting in old boxes, stuck between car seats, taped inside envelopes, or forgotten in family collections. And speaking of forgotten, remember that one junk drawer in every American household? The one you avoid opening because it feels like an archaeological dig site? Yeah, you might want to start with that one. Now let's talk about you. Because this isn't just a history lesson. This is an opportunity, a moment of clarity, a reminder that sometimes wealth is not created by luck, but by awareness that if you find one of these rare 1989 no-mint mark pennies, it could become your personal turning point. A moment where life shifts. A moment where you realize that your financial future can change not through unrealistic dreams, but through smart decisions, knowledge, and the willingness to act. Imagine selling a single penny and walking away with more money than most people make in an entire year. All because you paid attention. Imagine upgrading your life, investing wisely, maybe even starting that business you've always wanted or securing generational wealth for your family. But here's the urgent part. The market is hot right now. Collectors are paying premium prices today. Demand is soaring. And the longer these rare pennies stay hidden, the fewer chances remain to maximize their value. Let me leave you with a cliffhanger because this is where the story turns back to you. Somewhere in America, someone right now is discovering a coin they thought was worthless. Some family is opening an old jar and finding a shock waiting for them. Someone is selling a coin today for a life-changing amount. Imagine reaching into an old jar, a drawer, or that dusty box in the attic, and finding not just a penny, but a financial turning point. Because right now, in homes all across America, people are doing exactly that. And today, we're talking about one of the most shocking examples. A United States 1997 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny error that carries a staggering current market value of $945,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a single cent, but before we get to why this coin is exploding in value, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually really looked, at your pennies? Or do you treat them the way most people do? Like the annoying little cousins of money you want to get rid of? If so, stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. The story begins in 1997, a year when most people were still getting used to the idea of cell phones and the internet. At the Denver Mint, millions of pennies rolled through machines like clockwork. But in that ocean of identical coins, one tiny mistake slipped through, and that mistake turned an ordinary penny into a fortune. Now here's where things get interesting. At first glance, the 1997 D-penny looks like every other coin from its year. But under close inspection, especially under magnification, its secret becomes clear. The error found on this coin is so rare, so unusual, that collectors are willing to pay nearly $1 million just to own it. And the best part? Pennies from the 90s are still everywhere. They're in pockets, in old purses, in boxes that haven't been opened in 20 years. Meaning you could already own one, without knowing. But hold on, don't go running to your piggy bank just yet. Because before you start digging through your stash, you need to know exactly what makes this penny so valuable. And that's where things get even more surprising. Every coin has a story, but error coins? They're the drama queens of the numismatic world. They're born from chaos, mechanical issues, alignment failures, double strikes, off-centers. Little accidents that end up creating big opportunities. And in the case of the 1997 D. Lincoln penny, the error is breathtakingly rare. Picture this, you're examining a penny, minding your own business when suddenly you see something off. Maybe it's a dramatic misstrike. Maybe it's a double die that leaps out at you. Maybe the minting press had a brief, catastrophic failure that produced only a handful of flawed coins before correcting itself. And the few survivors? Their treasures. Collectors are obsessed with this particular 1997 D error because it represents the perfect storm, scarcity, mystery, and undeniable visual appeal. The kind of coin where even the untrained eye can sense that something extraordinary happened during minting. A coin that tells a story at first glance. A coin people fight for. And when demand explodes, when collectors, auction houses, and private investors all want the same tiny piece of copper-plated zinc, the price doesn't just rise. It skyrockets. That's how a humble cent from 1997 reached a market valuation of $945,000. But here's the real twist. This isn't the only valuable error penny out there. Not by a long shot. In fact, the market for rare U.S. mint errors is hotter today than it has been in decades. People are selling coins they never thought mattered, and walking away with life-changing money. Still, nothing beats the thrill of knowing one of these almost mythical 1997 D errors might still be sitting in circulation. Yes, circulation. That's the part that keeps collectors awake at night, and the part that should get you excited too. Now let's talk about you. Because the real reason you're here is not just to hear about someone else's lucky find. It's to see what's possible for your own journey. Imagine discovering a coin worth nearly $1 million. What changes first? Your debt disappears. Your savings soar. Your lifestyle shifts. Suddenly, you're living with options. With freedom. With confidence. The wealthy lifestyle so many people dream about starts with opportunities exactly like this. Unexpected, powerful, and completely real. And here's the truth every collector knows. Fortune favors the person who actually checks their coins. Who takes action. Who doesn't say, well, what are the odds? But instead says, why not me? Just think about it. You may already own the key to your next big breakthrough. That drawer full of old pennies you've ignored for years could be hiding gold disguised as copper. And the 1997 D error penny worth $945,000? It's not a fairy tale. It's a wake-up call. Now you might be wondering, but what if I don't know how to identify an error coin? Great question. And here comes your pattern interrupt. If you can spot a typo on your friend's Facebook post from 10 years ago, trust me, you can spot a mint error. The demand is real. The market is booming. Collectors are paying more today than they were 5, 10, or 20 years ago. And the upward trend hasn't cooled off at all. People want these coins, auctions are competitive, and new high-value discoveries are making headlines every year. But before we wrap up, let me leave you with a cliffhanger. Because next, we're going to explore another U.S. penny that's even more mysterious, even more valuable, and even rarer than today's 1997 D mint error. A coin so elusive that some collectors don't believe it still exists in the wild. Act I opens with a powerful hook, the kind that grabs your viewer's attention before they can even think of clicking away. Imagine the screen fades in with a quiet heartbeat-like sound, and a warm golden glow illuminates a single penny. And then the voice cuts through. What if I told you that a single ordinary-looking penny, a coin you might have walked past, dropped under your couch, or tossed into a jar by the hundreds, could be worth more than a luxury home in Los Angeles? What if I told you that one simple 1998 Lincoln cent, yes, the one with no mint mark, is now selling for as much as $793,000? Right as your viewer's eyebrows rise, we add a playful line. Yeah, I know. Suddenly that spare change jar is starting to look like a retirement plan. This simple moment resets the audience's attention while pulling them deeper into the mystery. Immediately, fear and excitement mix, fear of missing out, and excitement that their own coins could be hiding a fortune. Now we transition smoothly into the story, Act 2, by taking viewers back in time, describing how millions of Americans handled these copper-plated zinc pennies in 1998 without realizing a tiny, almost invisible anomaly would transform a common coin into a high-demand collector's dream. The pacing slows just for a moment so the gravity can settle in. Most people never check their pennies. They never look for oddities, small engraving shifts, or missing marks. But in 1998, something remarkable slipped into circulation. A batch of Lincoln cents left the mint missing one crucial detail, the mint mark. And that missing mark didn't make the coin incomplete. It made it priceless. To keep attention sharp, we interrupt the seriousness with a light, humorous jab. Funny, right? You forget one tiny letter at the mint, and instead of getting written up by your boss, you create a millionaire. With the audience firmly hooked, we deepen the emotional connection by tapping into aspiration. Collectors across the United States are hunting this coin with intensity. Every month, competition grows, and every year, the value climbs. People aren't just buying pennies. They're buying history, rarity, and the chance to transform an overlooked object into generational wealth. Then we layer in the urgency. And the truth is, these coins are disappearing into private collections fast. Once they're off the market, they're gone for good. That means every 1998 penny sitting in your home could be your last chance to claim a piece of a multimillion-dollar future. This allows us to transition naturally to the deeper explanation of the error itself. The 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just rare. It's misunderstood. Many people assume missing mint marks are damage or wear. But this specific error occurred during the die preparation stage, meaning the mint mark was never punched in at all. Instead of being a flaw, it became a certified rarity validated by high-level grading services. Then, right as they think they're getting comfortable, we drop a cliffhanger. But here's something most collectors won't tell you. It's not just the missing mark that drives the price to nearly $800,000. There's another detail, one almost nobody notices, that can multiply the value even further. And then we pause just long enough to create suspense before continuing. As we enter the latter part of Act 2, we reveal the hidden factor. The sharpness of the strike, the preservation of the lettering, and the untouched surfaces are everything. When one of these rare no-mint mark pennies appears in near-perfect condition, the value leaps from thousands to hundreds of thousands. At the top level, mint state 69 and above, the coin becomes a crown jewel for elite collectors, the kind who don't blink at six-figure bids. Then another gentle pattern interrupt keeps viewers engaged. If you're suddenly feeling tempted to grab a magnifying glass, trust me, that makes two of us. Now we build toward Act 3, increasing the urgency and the emotional stakes. Right now, in the current market, the highest graded examples of the 1998 no-mint mark penny are commanding up to $793,000. And with each sale, demand rises. Every day that passes, another collector locks one into a private vault. And that means your opportunity, your chance to join the growing list of everyday Americans who turned pocket change into a wealthy lifestyle, is shrinking. We allow the message to resonate deeply. It only takes one coin to change everything. One discovery to rewrite your financial story. And while others wait, hesitate, or doubt, the people who take action are the ones who prosper. Then comes the final build. So tonight, when you pour your coins onto the table, understand what you're really looking at. Not pennies, not leftovers, not spare change. You're looking at potential, possibility, opportunity disguised as something ordinary. We keep intensifying the emotional pull, because the wealthiest people in history weren't lucky. They were prepared. They were aware. They saw value where others saw nothing. Then we drop one last cliffhanger to carry them through the end. And before we wrap up, there's one more thing you absolutely need to know. Something that could be the difference between selling your penny for a few dollars or walking away with a life-changing fortune. Act 3 concludes with the final reveal: certification. If you discover what you believe to be a rare 1998 no-mint mark penny, never, and I mean never, sell it raw. Have it professionally graded. A certified error coin multiplies in value instantly because it removes doubt, establishes authenticity, and turns your coin into a documented asset. Collectors pay top dollar for confidence, and grading gives them exactly that. Then we add one more spark of inspiration. Imagine holding a graded six-figure penny in your hands. Imagine what that money could do for your life, your home, your family, your future. The closing paragraph brings everything together with powerful emotion and authority. Your journey into the world of rare coins doesn't start with knowledge. It starts with curiosity. And it's that curiosity, that willingness to look closer, that leads ordinary people to extraordinary wealth. The 1998 Lincoln cent with no mint mark is out there, waiting to be found, waiting to be claimed, waiting for someone like you to uncover it. So check your coins, trust your instincts, and remember, sometimes the smallest treasures hold the biggest rewards.